Welcome. This is a brief lecture on critical reading and thinking from your instructor. Most writing is a response to something written or something said. Consider when you open a newspaper and there's an editorial. That editor, that writer, is responding to something that a politician may have said, or maybe responding to a situation that has happened. Consider all of the editorials that have appeared in newspapers and within magazines, as well as on blogs, regarding the Ferguson trial, or regarding the Boston Marathon bombing, or regarding just a happy, joyful occasion of a lady turning 106 years old. Those writers were responding to something. So consider what your response may be. What did the author mean by that statement? That's not what I understood about the issue. What about our interpretations from the reading dictate how we will respond? How we read an article dictates how we will respond to it as well. So you are tasked to read an article to which you will respond within a discussion forum. So before you go to the discussion forum, did you read the article entirely, or did you read only half of it? Did you become an active reader or a passive reader? By active, we mean that you try to engage the reading by highlighting, underlining, taking notes, whether those are through the Cornell note-taking method or whether you used another form. The basic structure of a reading, any reading, is that it has an introduction. It contains a body section as well as a conclusion. The introduction is used to capture the reader's attention. So it may begin with a short story. It may begin with a question that the author never answers. It may clarify a misconception. Usually, the introduction also contains the thesis statement, but remember that a thesis can be also found in the conclusion, or it cannot be stated at all, it's just simply implied. The body section may be divided into subcategories, or there may be subheadings, but generally the body section contains the support. It answers the question of so what. Other questions it may answer will be who, the what, when, where, how, and why. But the body section is organized in a logical manner. It allows us, the reader, to clearly follow what the author is discussing. And finally, the conclusion restates the main idea. It presents your final thoughts, or it may call for some form of action. Critical reading and writing require discernment, sensitivity, imagination, knowledge of the subject, and above all, willingness to become involved in what you read. This is taken from Robinson Community College's English 111 textbook, and it is also true here for your English 112 course. You have to examine an article and determine to what extent the author succeeds in his or her purpose. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the author? Oftentimes, in English 112, we discuss a writing as being a piece of argument, but that is if the author's purpose is to persuade. It may be something different if his purpose is to inform. The manner in which the article is structured. The article may be structured differently if it's just written to entertain. So, determining the author's purpose first is vital. So let's just review the reading process that you should apply to every academic writing. First, pre-read. Examine the title. Read the bibliographic information. Take a look at the headings that are within the paper. Jot down what you already know about the subject, and then ask questions that you may have after just skimming the first paragraph and the last paragraph. This will allow your mind to begin to think about the subject and to begin to put it in some form of context. As you read, You should identify the main idea. Highlight those key points of the article. Circle any unfamiliar words or concepts. And most definitely annotate or take notes. For those who wish to try and sell their book back to the bookstore, okay, but please make sure that you take some notes. Finally, after reading your text, you should make sure that you have defined any unfamiliar words. As remember, words can be used for denotative value and connotative value. What's the difference? Denotative is the literal meaning of the word, where connotative is the emotions that are associated with the word. For example, bug, B-U-G. The literal meaning of bug is that it is an insect. Connotations that we use with it is that I have a bug, I don't feel well. A negative connotation, my computer has a bug. Okay. Again, a negative connotation, my computer is not behaving properly, something is affecting it. After your reading, you should also identify the thesis statement. If it is not explicitly written, then you should write it yourself. Outline the reading so that you can determine its structure. Is the author using ethos, pathos, or logos? So has he structured it to provide you the details first and then draw a conclusion? To try and present material in a logical manner? Or has the person given you the conclusion and then provides the specific details? Or has the person narrated a story to draw you in? And of course, summarize what you have read. In identifying the author's purpose, you can determine whether it is to inform, to persuade, or to entertain. If you're reading an informative piece, you have to consider the accuracy of the information being presented. Do you trust the author? Do you trust the information and the manner in which it is presented? Consider the significance of the information that is being provided, and then finally determine whether the information is being presented fairly or not. This moves into the evaluative process, which will become important as you write your rhetorical analysis. In reading a persuasive piece, you're trying to identify the thesis statement or the assertion. What is the point? You're also looking for how the author has supported his or her thesis. Are there any terms that need to be defined or that were clearly defined to assist you in understanding the author's point? But also you have to consider whether that information as well was presented in an unbiased manner. When you're reading to entertain, it may be written in a story form, to which you would have to consider your response to the central character or characters. How is this person portrayed? Through his or her own words or through the words and the actions of others? You would have to consider the events. Do they appear realistic? Are they believable? How important is this character and the events to the subject matter? What do you think is the overall theme of the piece? Keep this in the back of your mind as you review Chapter 2 within your textbook, as well as the lesson provided for you within Moodle. Should you have any questions, be sure to give me a call or send me an email through Moodle.